Good morning. Today is Thursday, June 26th, 2025. The time is 8:31. I'd like to call to order the Albany Parking Authority meeting. In attendance are myself, Vice Chair Jordan Jones, Bill Pettit, and Jim Saponis. Did board members have a chance to review the minutes of May 7th, 2025? Can I get a motion to accept?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next on the agenda is a review of the financials, and I'll turn that over to Jones.
Thank you, ma'am. Just going over our goals and objectives, our business strategies are continued focus on training and professional growth, as well as focus on increasing garage occupancy and pursue grant opportunities. Capital improvements and community projects include heated sidewalks, annual repairs and renovations, as well as murals. And moving on to our May overview. Our revenue for May came in at $812,192, with our expenses being at $550,151, with a positive net of $262,041, with our available cash being almost $1.6 million. Moving on to our net income history. Revenues and expenses were consistent. You just seen a small, a nice dip in expenses from comparatively from May's due to we had our renovations and insurance payment last year that we made around this time. So we'll probably see another fluctuation like that in the next board meeting. And our net income is sorry, just making sure this is right. Our net income is on par with other Mays. And our parking revenues, again, we're above our projections. We have an increase from April to May. We're higher than our projections, while our daily and monthly parking slightly decreased. Overall parking revenues increased due to an $18,000 increase in event income. Right, Kevin? And moving on to our expenses, excluding enforcement, they have decreased in May and were below our projections. This is mostly due to there being an additional pay period in April. All other expenses were fairly consistent. And our meter revenues, we had a slight decline from April to May. This is most likely due to having one less day this month compared to last year's May. Also, session was starting to decline. So we're going to see a slight dip from probably now until the end of December, but nothing concerning. And our meter daily average, again, we did have the one less day, and with session ramping down, you just see a slight decrease on our average. Nothing to be alarmed about. We're still within the range of our trend throughout the year.
No, you're fine. Did we, because I know like with them changing the session calendar where it used to be farther into June and now it's about just the first week, did we make an adjustment in our projections this year, or we sort of kept it?
We kept it, you know, just because of the unpredictability with the work from home schedule, and then there was some pop-up, there's some pop-up events that happen, so we just kind of like to keep it on that line.
Okay.
Monthly and other revenues, we had a slight decrease in monthlies. We had a couple of large accounts move, and then we had some smaller individuals and smaller corporate accounts kind of peppered away. This has kind of been the trend throughout the year. With the decrease, we do end up seeing some increases, not that it makes up for the larger decrease, but we are seeing a slight incline with the decline. But this has actually been the trend since 23, so it's nothing too surprising or alarming. Daily garage and lot revenue. We had a good May for for our daily garage and lot revenue, mostly, due to the validations at the Green Hudson garage. The hotel actually, they had a lot of events, graduations, banquets and stuff like that. So, it was nice to see that they, picked up their business. Yeah, it was a lot of graduations in the area. And then we had some smaller, increases due to events at Garage Two, and, in the Q lot that also relates to common route events and, some hotel usage.
Is this the first time that we're sort of seeing an uptick because of graduations? Because I don't feel we saw.
Yeah, we don't really see that very often. Like, we did not see that last year.
I know,
Yeah.
like there were a ton of graduations. I don't feel like we saw
Yeah.
like that much of a jump.
So I have a feeling their outreach is, starting to get better. And Kevin could probably.
Yeah,
attest to that.
the graduations were a little different this year in that the Palace actually hosted graduations this year, which they've never really done. When they hosted the MVP, we get some trickle off, but they have their own parking facility. MVP is our parking facilities, and the hotel has been doing a lot more to get events and like stuff like that when people are coming out of town at the hotel. We did, I want to say 12,000 in validation with the hotel last month.
14.
14, thank you. So it was a huge number.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm happy they're coming along.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
All right, moving on to the revenue summary. So again, we've seen a slight decline in meter revenue, mostly due to the one less day, and you can see that in the difference. Usually we do hover around the 11,500 mark. And again, our monthly and other revenue, we're still seeing that 1 to 2% decline. But our garage and lot revenue, major increase along with our event revenue as well. Having a 59% increase from last month from the forecasted. So we're gonna continue to see that trend right through August, because we still got, CrossFit coming and they're expecting that to be like an NCAA type event. So we'll see a lot of movement through that. And I think we have several, not like Chris Stapleton type events that we had this month.
Yeah, there was
Similar.
this month was strong, and then there's a few more big events throughout the year at the MVP. I know one is sold out. The name excludes me right now. But they also have not announced all their fall winter events at both the Palace and the MVP. So we're hoping to see some bigger stuff there.
Yeah. So I think for May, we had Shane Gillis, Tom Segura, Kane Brown, who I'm not familiar with.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be.
Yeah. Okay, so on for our investment accounts, our debt service set aside, we're hovering around almost $1.8 million. This has actually been withdrawn for our debt service payment in July. So next month you'll be seeing this at zero, as it was intended. Short term, we did make a $50,000 deposit in that recently. We had some surplus, so we decided to throw it into our short term for now. Just to remind the board, we use our short term investment accounts for cash flow purposes. We may utilize it for some of the debt service payment, that sort of thing. So we're doing well. And our long-term investments, we intend to hover around the $730,000 mark till the end of the year until we decide what surplus we have to be able to put into our long-term after expenses and our meter licensing. And our EV charging investment account, we're right on track, around 3,800 every quarter to put in that account. This account has been coming in handy for repairs and not replacements yet, but we're hoping to start utilizing this in the next 3 to 5 years to start expanding and or replacing our current chargers. Any comments or questions?
Repairs to the EV charging station generally are you saying like the same types of repairs that are needed, or is it?
Yeah, it's been two kinds of repairs. One has been communications issues where, a modem or, some kind of, well, it's mostly a modem or a SIM chip failure. And then, the other one has been a power cycle failure. I think, and these items aren't really that big a deal. I think the frustrating part about the repairs of the EV chargers is the third-party vendors that you have to deal with to be able to fix these. It's ridiculous, but I'm assuming as time goes on, there'd be more people expanding into doing having third-party contractors repair these things. Prices will get cheaper, but we fight with them quite a bit on price. So.
Next time on the agenda.
Revenue history. Revenue history, 3D in your packet. I do like this report. I know Chris has mentioned in the past that it might be a little much, but I really feel like that it paints a nice picture of how the parking authority has evolved with its revenue stream. We did have this go back quite a few years. We shortened it up to 2019 and beyond because we can just see that we're now starting to be in a safe zone of pre-pandemic numbers. Our monthly average is at 593,000, whereas in 2019 we are 591. So we're on a great path for recovery. And hopefully the economy holds up and we can continue that trend.
Remember?
Key numbers. It's pretty soon in your packet. Nothing too exciting here other than we're ahead of budget and revenue and below expenses. So that's exciting for us. Just a few items that I'd like to just remind the board about. Our insurance expense. It's typically it's always higher than what we project, and it's because we don't know what it's going to be until well after our budget has been approved. We try to put a good guess on prior year trends, and unfortunately, they're seem to be always higher than what we anticipate. So there's that. Our snow expenses. This is typical for us as well. It's in the yellow. Only because we make 5 payments a year on that for our snow contractors for Central Avenue, so that'll even out by the end of the year. And the rest is maintenance and repair. We did have a few repairs this year to some vehicles and equipment that were unforeseeable, but I don't see it being a major issue at the end of the year. It's typical for us to go over a little bit on our maintenance and repairs, so I'm not too concerned.
And professional fees?
Professional fees, let's see, for May. I want to say this is a lot of our engineering fees that have to do with our repairs and items like that, yeah. So we're just hovering around 42% mark. We're actually right where we're supposed to be, but it's worth watching just to make sure that we're paying our invoices, not paying our invoices, but make sure the invoices are proper from ONS. It's a lot to reconcile.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions?
No.
Enforcement numbers. Page 4, enforcement numbers. We did have a decent May. We were a little bit below 2024's May as just due to, it's usually due to staffing issues and or equipment issues. We did have We did have some new LPRs, license plate readers, installed recently, and that does account for some downtime. Usually a week or two for the vehicle, depending on what the issues are after the install. But nothing to be alarmed about, in my opinion. We're still well above projections for our end of the year amount of. I think our projections are like 4.2-ish or something like that for our enforcement rev.
Internally, we tried to get to 4.2.
Yeah.
The city expects 4, so.
And our boots have increased significantly since last year.
Last year's a phenomenal.
Yeah, yep. Doug did get a shipment of new boots in earlier in the year. So we have an inventory increase and that accounts for that. That'd be very exciting with enforcement.
Good thing.
Yeah, for those.
Communications?
IPMI update. So IPMI is the International Parking and Mobility Institute. We send our folks there once a year to meet with vendors, do some shop classes. I actually went this year. It was in Louisville. Nice weather. Met with some vendors. I talked to a bunch of engineers because I feel like it's time for us to RFP for new services. We've had ONS for quite some time now. I feel like we should start, I think we should start seeing what's out there, making sure that these folks are actually doing what they're supposed to do, have a little bit of redundancy, and that way we're feel more safe. Other than that, there's not really a whole lot of new technology out there. It's kind of all the same stuff. We're pretty updated in our facilities. I think the focus for the parking folks nowadays is curbside stuff. Currently, I'm working with the city with working on a program with Up City. It's a sensor program, shows occupancy on the street. We're going to pilot it for the year to see how it can help enforcement. So just to give you an example, we have about 5 or 6 sensors on Lark Street, right by the bistro, because that was a trouble area for us. So on Lark Street, as you know, you can only park on one side of the street for, I think, 4 or 6 days out of the week, and then you have to switch over. So the system can account for how many cars are on one side of the street that are occupied versus not occupied. So the idea is, if you know that it's a move over day, you see a bunch of cars that they're just green dots showing that they're occupied areas versus red and green on the other side, you know that individual is in violation, and we can send enforcement up to pick them. So it's a little big brothery, but kind of cool system, a little expensive. Not sure if the city's going to go for it, but it's a little helpful.
Is it something that just you guys have access to and not the public?
Yeah.
Oh.
And sensors go on like existing poles or?
Yeah. So
Is it already?
yes. Yeah. And I have them in a couple places in our metered areas, one across from the park, and then one on, or a few on State Street.
What park?
Across from
The Washington Park area out by Central.
I've said this park's name a million times. It's the park right at the fork at the, thank you, Townsend Park. So how it works is that the closer to the ground you have the sensors, the more you need to be able to view everything on the street. The higher up they go, you don't need as many. So the cost issue with these is they're $600 per year per sensor. So to be able to cover the area by the bistro, which is about 10 to 12 spaces, it takes five sensors. So it's quite expensive to be able to do that.
So how does it work?
So it looks like it almost looks like a bigger version of a cell phone. And what it does is it can sense, it doesn't take plate numbers or anything like that. It just knows that there's a car or a truck or something large that's parked in the space that we have specified via GPS. And it can also, identify double parking as well. So,
Was it some sort of mass? It understands mass.
something like that, yeah, yeah.
Does it use infrared?
I don't know if it would be infrared
It's
necessarily.
HD cameras using AI to track.
HD.
It's HD cameras using AI to track movement and shapes. So it's assessing the size of a shape to assess if it's a car or not a car, if it's a person. And then it's tagging it as how long, there's probably a buffer time on it for how long it's been there before it flies.
Right,
Yeah.
it's like we refer to it, we
The
refer.
camera, yeah.
we
Well,
refer to
the
it-
cloud, it's, the
Yeah.
cameras,
I understand.
yeah.
But it's a camera.
It
Yeah.
doesn't take pictures, so.
No.
So we call it like digital chalking, like, you know,
Yeah.
how back in the days we chalk tires, that's how we ticket to make sure people move, this is what that does.
So based on the cost, like, how much would have to, like, I guess, be in violation in order to justify it?
Right, so that's what we're piloting to figure
Okay.
out, like, if it's beneficial for the city to actually invest in it, and, you know, right now, my answer would be no.
Yeah, it sounds pretty expensive.
Yeah, it's pretty expensive, but it's good to do this kind of program because in the future, I mean, who knows, 5, 10 years down the road, these things might not be, you know, they might not cost hardly anything, you know?
Could it be used to like, in real time, tell people like, there's parking availability on this street,
Yeah.
so people aren't like
Yep.
circling?
Yeah, just like, you know, there's apps out there like Park or Spot Hero and like Parking Panda and stuff like that, that kind of utilize that kind of stuff. So yeah, it definitely can do that. And that's how it was pitched to us first, that it was this great system to use for occupancy, for parking. But, you know, we have a pretty firm grip on that right now, and it's not really something that we need to spend money on to understand where our occupancy is for meters.
Yeah,
And so I,
not so much for us though, but for like
Public.
people looking for
Yeah.
parking.
oh yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah, but that's zero revenue.
Yeah, you know, I think it would be great for like a Chicago type city where, you know, it's large, you know, like we only control just for meter parking alone, we only control 2,100 spaces, right? You know, and if we want to do it for enforcement and try to censor the entire city, or at least, you know, just let's just say busy
Well,
places
it's
like
kind of-
downtown.
It's kind of silly if you're using it for double parking, we know where the double parking occurs.
Right.
So,
Well, I think the thought behind it, or at least my idea was, you know, if we were able to actually have the system installed, I think it would revamp how we look at enforcement. You know,
Yeah.
so right now enforcement has, you know, 9 to 10 zones, if that, around the city of Albany, where most of them they can drive on, but there are some that they can walk on. And I feel like if this was a less expensive system, I think we could save some money on attrition. You know, when people are leaving, we don't have to rehire for that. Or, you know, instead of having routes in zones where people just walk around and make a round 3, 4 times a day, you know, they could literally be sitting in a car and waiting for an area to go to, instead of they're wasting their time looking at another area that, you know, has no violations in it. So it's more of an efficiency thing to me, but like I said, the cost, it has to be cost effective, and I just don't see that.
New business?
New business, RFP updates. Oh, the downtown bid wayfinding sign installation has been complete. We had a press on that last month, I believe. Went well. The contractor's just buttoning up a few odds and ends, but I believe 99% of the signs are out and ready to go. And I think there's a few old signs that just need to come down. We're waiting for.
Yeah,
GPS
they have one sign that still needs to go in at Tricentennial Park.
Right.
That's the last sign that has to go in, and there's like 3 or 4 of the old navigation
Yeah,
the square things. That,
But
and that's DGS that's taking those out.
generally it went smooth, you know, it was a good install. I haven't heard otherwise from Georgia, so. Repair and preventative maintenance, the general repairs are almost complete, and what I mean by that is, there's very little concrete work left to do, as well as, they have to pour, about 5,000 square feet of membrane. That's all weather dependent, but we don't see any issues with that. The only issue we are having this year is we're still backed up on the Hudson Avenue new entry. I think it's a tariff issue, to be honest. The contractor's having a real hard time finding a metal fabricator for a big chunk of the project, and as well as trying to get an electrician on site to help with some of the terminations. We gave him a few good leads. I think he's going to be okay. So I'm in hopes that we can get that portion of the project complete this year, because we do have other items that we'd like to complete that kind of are dependent on the Hudson Avenue entry to be done. But we have had to push this off quite a few times. And, you know, I think the last time we pushed this off was, you know, we had a pop-up fish concert, you know, so we're running into that again, where we have to keep changing the schedule. So we're on them, the engineer's on them, hoping to get it completed by November.
Great.
Public sculpture project, we're gonna put an RFP out for this. This was one of the items that we were depending on the Hudson Avenue entry to be done, because we are gonna pour a concrete pad in the area of the dog park that we wanted to install in this area. But again, you know, we need the work to be complete, because it falls into a pedestrian area with a gate and so on. And Kevin will be heading up that project after we post that RFP. We're hoping to post it in fall.
Yeah, at this point, we're hoping to get fall once we have a timeline for the entry, and then
Right.
for install in spring next year.
So it's a possibility that we could get this done this year. If we want to be really optimistic about it, but I'm usually not an optimist, so I'm gonna plan for a 2026 install.
At the top floor.
Active pass report, we had 11 cancellations in May. You know, this kind of sticks with the narrative that, you know, we do get some new passes month to month, with a larger cancellation in some months. But if you see the trend, it's, you know, we were positive 11 passes in January, but then negative 51 in February, because we had not Bank of America. It was a huge
It was the law firm.
yeah.
It was a law firm. They're always
Yeah.
law firms.
You know, but then we gained a 14 and 18, and, you know, we lost 11 in May, so, we'll see what June brings us.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Any questions? Great.
EV chargers?
EV chargers, we are still on trend with 2020, with January. We're still hovering around that $1,400 mark. We're gonna be looking at our electrical charges, our current kilowatt per hour charges this year, because we like to stay 8% above that. So we're actually making money on the chargers to be able to make them more self-sustainable. So we do that about once a year to see if we're still in the ballpark, and we'll see if we have to make any adjustments to the actual rate on those. I hate to raise them, but we're not really gonna have a choice if electrical costs are going up. But we've been pretty safe for the last 8 months, so I'm hoping that's not gonna be the case.
And when you do have to raise them, how do you communicate that to the public?
So the way that they work is, they're all app-based. So we'll update that. We'll we don't necessarily advertise that it's gonna be an increase. It's not really something we like to push out on social media that we have to increase prices for stuff like that. But the last time that we made a major increase on these, because we were actually losing money, we got very little pushback. I got a feeling we were so cheap that people were just like, whatever, you know, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Grant update.
Grant updates, ESD, that's the $50,000 or $50-ish thousand that we were reimbursed. We're expecting that this year. We had sent in our whatchamacallit, our grant disbursement. So ball's in their court. I don't really see any issues with receiving the money. It's just a waiting game at this point. They've had a lot of turnover, so. And then the build grant, we find out about that on the 28th to see where those awards are going. I'm not very optimistic about that award this time around, but we're going to keep applying for grants like this, similar grants like this every year. We're just going to apply and hope something sticks.
Strategic plan review.
So we created a strategic plan, a draft, that I won't, we don't have to go over it today. It's just a draft. So we'll send this to the board if they don't have it already, or you can take these home to review at your leisure. I think it's put together pretty well. We got some great feedback from Jill Delaney. We got some great feedback from Georgette Steffens. So we're pretty confident that you guys will approve the strategic plan. So you know, once we get this approved, we're going to you know, we'll be able to explain to the board how this relates to our budget moving forward, how it relates to our capital plan. We'll start to see changes on our financial presentation that, you know, instead of just going over the same old like heated sidewalks and all that stuff, we'll be able to add on every year something different that we're going to be doing.
Is there a time frame for the plan?
We'd like to get it approved by next board meeting, I believe.
No, I mean, as far as implementation.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, so I believe we're gonna start at the end of this year with it. And it just, you know, it just involves a lot of items, like, you know, it's really stuff that we're already doing. It just solidifies it on paper, like we're promising to expand our EV charging system. We're promising some more green initiatives, you know, more community outreach, more, you know, mural projects, and how that relates to how all these items relates to our future repairs and renos and stuff like that.
Anybody else have any questions? Unfinished business,
I have none.
do we need to go into executive?
Yes, ma'am. For
employment history, and then also the potential appointment. Leading, it's all F, matters leading to the appointment, promotion, demotion. Let's see, by person or corporation.
thanks, John.
We have a motion from
So
executive.
moved.
Mhm.
Also age.
Also, it's
Yeah. That's the early stream.
Proposed acquisition, sale, of the real property, proposed acquisition of security, the sale or exchange of security, held by such public body. The only one that publicity would substantially affect the value thereof.
we make that longer.
No. That's not-
She can.
Yeah,
Okay.
No, already. Oh,
yeah, sorry.
okay. I have a motion to move out of executive session.
So moved.
Time is 9:24. No action was taken in executive session. Next on the agenda is to take up resolution 2025-06-01. That recognizes the attracting, retaining talented management and staff. is the most significant component being able to properly and effectively execute its mission and attaining the performance objectives set by the board. This resolution will be amended to take out,
Yeah, just the last phrase
The last
after the
phrase.
comma at the, on the wherefore, the therefore, excuse me, the therefore clause at the conclusion.
can I get a motion to approve?
So
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
Same. Any other business?
No, ma'am.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Yes, thank
Have a
you.
great day.